Oops, I hit the button before I was ready. Oh well. Slow on the uptake, I guess. So, it's me, Dr. E, again. This time, here to help you give an overview of our Milestone 3, your museum exhibit methodology. All right. So, how to think of this? Think of this as doing a standalone paper, okay, strictly focused on the methodologies surrounding your artifact slash feature of choice, right, from your group, right, that's representative of. And since we're talking artifacts, this is a past thing, not a modern thing, okay. So yeah, you're going to want to go back and strongly use our text to support your points here. Like we had those sections on classification and different techniques and methods used to understand and gain insights into particular things. Right? Those are going to be really, oh, and the extra feature, I mean, not features, extra resources I shared about those. I put an ebook out there and an article kind of representing the beginning of the new era of archaeology, the new archaeology, and a relatively recent book all about classification of archaeological artifacts, right? Methods is a key part in there. So it would also be a great source for this piece of work. So let's, as always, always pull up the prompt and rubric, okay? And I just so happen to have it right here. So you can read the prompt just as well as I can. But what I want to do is try to give some insights into these specific aspects. All right, this is part 2. All right, methodology, and you have points A through H. Okay. And you're going to want to, this is not going to be in a PowerPoint, this is going to be a Word document, all right, or, a text document. Don't care if you use Word, but definitely use one of the appropriate formats that Brightspace can deal with. Word being the most, Word or PDFs are usually, or text files are usually the best. So these critical elements, right, these specific aspects, are really where I'm going to be focusing in on. Right? And you will see, after you've read the prompt here, that all of these points are really extensions of these main questions. Okay, I would suggest you use this prompt here, these headings, right, to structure your document. Okay. The first benefit to that is it's going to help ensure that you touch on all of them, right? That you don't pass one or skip one by accident. And in addition to that, it makes reviewing it a lot more direct, all right? I can see where, oh, hey, they're talking about point A here, and this is where they address that. And then there's point B and point C and yada, yada, yada. So I would really suggest that as a good strategy for how to structure this document, okay? Two big benefits to it. Of course, you got to proof. You got to cite your work. Don't waste space in your document. Like, don't use 16-point font. Keep it 12-point. Standard stuff that I've talked about before. Full APA citations for any and all sources you use, both in text and full reference. Okay. So let me take a stab at going through these specific aspects that you need to address. So first, you're going to identify your artifact or feature that you want to further investigate from your group. All right, and to do so, you want to explain why you selected it. All right, think of that as kind of a two-part thing. Your personal interest. All right, like obviously you have some personal interest in this thing, or why did you pick it? Right, explain it. Right? Then also offer some insight into the significance in terms of archaeology. Okay, why would you even look at this thing in the first place, right? What sort of information are you looking to get out of it, and what is that going to give you towards understanding your group? Okay, so key things to address. So you're going to provide, this is point B here. You're going to provide a comprehensive description. All right, think purely descriptive. I don't want to see your personal feelings in that, right? Just be as objective and descriptive as possible. Okay, go over the top with it. It'll help ensure that that you're on the mark. All right, so things you would address here is, what does the artifact or feature do? What was its purpose for the cultural group? Its functionality, its utility? What sort of social place did it have? What was the social relationship between the artifact and the cultural group? Is it some status good? Is it some everyday object that any and anyone could have used? Or is it, strictly limited to the elite, right, of, a particular type of society? Those are things, remember we did a whole bit about classification and description, right? Think that. That's what you want to be hitting here. Next up, point C. You want to describe the archaeological research methods that have been used in the past to find artifacts and or features related to your cultural group. And you're going to use specific examples. This means research, okay? You can use our text, but I would really suggest going out and doing, using Shapiro Library, or, you can search, just go in there and plug your cultural group and archaeology and methods, right? 3 key parameters, right? Your group, archaeology, and methods. And you should find some stuff, okay? But you want to focus, for this point C, you want to focus those on what has been done, right, in the past to identify and document these particular types of artifacts for your group, right? And use specific examples. That's why you got to do the Shapiro research. You can use Google Scholar as well, right? You can get some good stuff. Check out academic journals, archaeology, Society of American Archaeology, places like that. They should have some helpful stuff. And of course, you can use any of the extra resources that I have posted in past module announcements to help you with this as well. Next up, point D, select a specific appropriate method you would use to acquire your selected artifact or feature. All right. So imagine that your artifact feature is in situ, right? That means in place. Okay. It hasn't been removed and put in a museum. Okay. Imagine it in place. And what specific methods? All right, because we rarely use a single method. Okay, I know it says method and not plural, but I'm trying to tell you here right now that no single method is going to be adequate. Take that to heart. Okay, so you want to think about some complementary methods that would be used to to acquire your artifact and or feature. Hope that makes sense. And I would say that you want to specifically cite those techniques and methods, right? Turn to our text, turn to the extra resources that I've posted out there about such things. Let's see here. Point E. Describe where the artifact or feature was found, all right? Specifically, was it in a public or private place, okay? And what are the associated ethical considerations of finding it in the specific location, okay? Now, I'm going to try to give a little bit about ethics here. I've talked about ethics in terms of like human remains and stuff, but remember that this is an artifact in place. A public space tends to be very open, open access. What would be the difference between an artifact from a public type place to a private type place? If you're digging in someone's house or the remnants, the remains of, you're literally going through people's stuff, right? I think there's a big difference between that and, say, excavating a market site, okay, where everybody was coming and going. Right? It was public. It was open. There are serious ethical considerations, right? What if it's somebody's piece of jewelry? That had sentimental value. Why else would you have it? I mean, we might assume that it has some sort of story behind it, and we'll never know the full extent of what it meant to the individual, right? This is kind of picking at the ethical issues, right? I hope that helps kind of get you on track. Okay, and you can look up, you know, anthropological ethics on the American Anthropological Association website. We have our ethical standards and practices. There, even though we might be talking archaeology, it is within the discipline of anthropology, and you can also look it up on the Society of American Archaeology. They will have their standards and ethics. Might be some good material to cite to support your points. Okay. Let's see here. Point F. Explain why the artifact or feature was found in the specific place, using research to justify the location. All right. The artifact or feature was in the specific place for a reason. What is it? Okay. This gets to context. Okay. We did a whole section on context. I suggest you go back to it. Right. If it's a grave good, what does that tell us? If it's just found in general association, what does that suggest? The more intimate association will have certain inferences, the more distant, the broader. But that doesn't mean that you can't discern some specific contextual insight into the location of your artifact. Okay. And look to our text. It has lots of great examples in there. Like I mentioned, grave goods. That's a pretty common example, right? But your artifact might not be a grave good, right? So yeah, was it found in a home? That kind of touched back on the public or private space. Why is it there? What? Why? Yeah. Point G. Explain what other information you would need about the artifact or feature to help you draw informed conclusions about the cultural group, providing specific examples. Okay. And I give an example here. For example, would you need to look at other artifacts and or features? All right. The one artifact or feature is a physical sample of the culture. So what other information will you need to create a bigger picture? This is all about recognizing the information that you do have versus the information that you want to have, right, to get a bigger picture, right? What you have versus what we need to have a more complete picture, right? Think about it like that. That's kind of I'm going to say a brainstorming exercise. You want to be able to support your points here. Again, I would look back at our text, right, about particular methods and approaches that help us do so, right? Like, bioarchaeology, if you're dealing with human remains or residues, pollen analysis, things like that, isotope analysis, carbon dating, potassium argon dating, all those sorts of things are going to be you want to kind of weigh their value, right? And what sort of information is going to be able to give you. Historic archaeology, right? Like looking at kind of contemporary groups, and what insights that we can gain from them and apply to the past. Okay, those are all sorts of strategies that are going to help you get a bigger, more complete, holistic picture of your group. Okay. And of course, I kind of let the cat out of the bag for point H. Explain why it is important to gather more data from valid, reliable opinions and cultures. Valid opinions about cultures. What ethical implications are at play for forming opinions based on only one artifact or feature? Argue how you can discern good insights from a single thing. Okay, what are you going to need to have to go with that to be able to make your argument? Think of it like that. You know, can you take a single item and extrapolate a broad pattern from it? Maybe in some cases you can. Maybe in other cases you can't. Okay. Yeah, you wanna pick that apart. And of course, support your points. Now, we scroll on down here and look at the actual rubric. This is based on a proficient, needs improvement, or not evident. Okay, and I of course want to see everybody hitting proficient. Okay, so look at the little descriptors under needs improvement, because that's going to outline the key things, and then look over at proficient and you'll see it explains why the specific artifact or feature was selected, right? So this tends to be about level of depth, level of detail between the two. Okay, I always suggest, all right, being thorough and being descriptive. Take the time, okay, because all it's going to do is help you in the long run here. Right. This is essentially going to be a piece that's inserted into your broader museum exhibit. Okay, and on that note, you will, I believe I got this right. You'll be kind of including bullets of this in your PowerPoint, in your presentation, okay? But right now, you're going to write it up so you're able to make those points, okay? So think of this as a two-step process. You're not going to turn in a draft of your PowerPoint of this, though. But I am telling you, you're going to be including this in your final presentation, okay? I think that about covers it. Make sure to proof your work, APA citation, standard stuff. Shout out to Grammarly. If you don't know it, make it your best friend. It's a free download and highly effective in catching, general typos and stuff in your writing. Double checking my notes. Yeah. That's where I'm going to leave this. And of course, any questions, post them to General Questions Forum, call me, email me, text me. I'm happy to offer further insights, all right? But I think this is a pretty good overview that should give you the means to move forward. Oh, and one last thing. Don't forget about your interview. It's due week 6, which is next week. So you want to be on that. I'll put a written blurb in the written portion of the announcement as well to kind of give you a reminder about that. And of course, part of that is the consent form. Got to be done, right? No consent form, it doesn't count. Okay, we can't use it. You can't use it, right? Because it's a legal thing. Because the school could be in trouble if it was used inappropriately. All right, but you can tell your interviewees that this is strictly for a class project. It will not be, shared with the broader public or anything like that. This is strictly for an in-class project, right? That should help, right? Because they're going to be like, well, why do you want to talk to me? tell them, hey, I'm interested in archaeology, and what better way to get some insights into those specific things? Check the initial prompt about that. There are specific questions in there that you need to address. All right, I'll stop going on and on. I'll leave it there. And yeah, see you in the discussion boards, y'all. Take care.